Happy Thanksgiving. It's a rainy day here in Ohio, but it's sure a good day. Looking forward to Thanksgiving and giving thanks to all that God's given us, and we need to praise and give thanks to the Lord Almighty for everything He's given us in our lives, because we are a very blessed nation. But let's get on to the topic today. I thought I would make a little video because I get some questions asked about it, about homestead defense, defending an area for a prepper group or a patriot. And I'm going to talk briefly about it here and give you some ideas to think about. I've seen a lot of good videos out there. I've seen some bad videos out there on it. As for my experience and opinion on what you should do, Southern Prepper One put out a good video a little bit, a half year ago on it, basically, and it was pretty good. I liked the video, so I'm going to reiterate on some of the stuff that he talked about and go further on some ideas. You gotta remember, this is based in the Midwest, in a bushy area out in the country, is what I'm going to base most of this off of. So if you're in a different area, think this, apply it to your area and put a plan together. Okay, let's talk about homestead defense. You don't want to become the Alamo. You want to make sure you have a good escape route. I can't stress that enough, because I don't care what you got or how good you think you are, how many you got, in a matter of time, without support, you will be overrun. So, and I mean without support or people coming in to help you, you'll be overrun. It's like back in the olden days with the cashers. So, have a good escape plan. Have security up. Do not keep all your supplies in your compound. Hide it in caches through the property or the woods and stuff around you. Have some of your neighbors might have some of it. So if they do take it, they don't get all your stuff. Also, just because they take it doesn't mean you can't get it back. I mean, most of the time the houses here in the Midwest, you have yard, even if you're in the woods, you have yard around your house. Well, unless they're smart and they put good security up, or as the team runs in and gets it out, basically you can ambush them as they're leaving your place and do damage to them and maybe get your stuff back. Or you can ambush them when they're trying to leave and walk it out on foot. And that brings another point. You want to make sure your homestead is not, you can't access it by vehicle. Block the driveway. Make them come in on foot. So those are some things to consider. Also, you want good security up. You do not want, you want at least 2 guys out there for security, because 180 and 180 equals 360. And that is the bare minimum. I would recommend more. So that means you also have to have a sleep program, because not everybody can be on security. Another thing is, when you're doing this, I don't care if you're going to the garden to walk in the garden, you need to have security, a guy with the person walking in the garden as security, because when you walk in the garden, you can't perform security tasks, because you need security up all the time. You need good SOPs. You need to run your scenario, or your group needs to run through training and scenarios to see how you respond, because that's the best way of getting experience at this for a prepper group, is to run through scenarios. And I would use the scenarios with airsoft or something where you have projectiles so you know you're hit. That way you can see how good your defensives work. Put an Op 4 out there trying to raid your place. See how well your plan and your strategies work. And also that'll give the guys time and experience on reacting to the threat, because you got to react to the threat quick and make a good decision. Okay, let's talk about improvements. You need to think about the improvements you want to do for your compound or homestead. And now's the time to do it, not under a good down situation. I'm going to give you a couple ideas here, stuff to think about. I see a lot of guys trying to take an AR-15, put a long barrel on it, put a bipod on it, and put a big drum and stick it into a bunker and call it a cruise sword weapon, or basically a machine gun, in this bunker, and they're gonna mow down this area if anybody comes through here. That's fine, but without support, infantry support or men support, it's not gonna do a whole heck of a lot, because all I would do if I have a 6-8 man team and we're gonna take you guys out and we realize we do recon, and we'll get back to that in a little bit, and we realize there's a bunker there with a guy with some type of squad automatic weapon or whatever you want to call it, but there's only a handful of guys on security, I'll just drop back a sniper with good grass and AR-10 or something and take out him or the weapon by shooting. Simple, easy to do, and they won't even know what hit him, and that weapon's out of the fight. So I would, on situations like that, I would urge you to spend your money on more detection devices, because think of it as the old World War II scenario, like the Navy out in the Pacific. They're trying to detect the Japan before the battle fleet, before they can detect Japan. Japan detects their battle fleet. That gives you the ability to attack or run. So, and a lot of times the team that attacks first usually wins. So I would focus on a lot of detection devices. Take for example a good Trizicon egg hog scope as one of the scenarios. You have that in your rifle, it gives you some magnification, 3-4 power, good optics, crisp optics to see, so it allows you to see farther and see better. And that's huge, because most of the time the guys you're going up against are in camouflage and they're trying to hide from you, so you want to detect them. So being able to see better is huge. So I would go to stuff like that. Don't forget about hearing. They make some good hearing devices now that allows you to hear a lot better. I'll do a video on one down the road here. So think about that and put your money towards stuff like that, and to training and scenarios and running yourself through it. Okay, let's talk about track traps and choke points. Basically, like here in the Midwest, we have these rose thorn bushes that grow everywhere, woods, fields, and it's heck to get through unless you cut your way through them. They're really sticky. So here's just an example. Most times you're gonna go into a place, you're gonna recon the area, at least I would. So if you have some tracking ability and you go out there and you do sign cutting, especially at track traps or choke points, you probably can determine if somebody's coming to look at your homestead, or somebody's been there reconning it, and gives you an idea, boy, maybe we should put more security up or something. So think about that. Also, it'd be simple as just having that through around your property and brush hogging some areas or trails, because most of the time people will go down them trails instead of going through the bushes and through the thorns. If they do, they'll have to cut their way through or force their way through, and you'll be able to see that. So if you look, if you look for make them track traps and choke points, you can always pretty much tell with some tracking ability, determine if somebody's coming through there or not, or watching you. Also look for trash. A lot of times people's trash discipline is bad, so you'll find trash. Another thing is at nighttime, look for light. People's light discipline is bad. That's where night vision comes in. Even a pair of cheap night vision helps out on detecting light. So I would look for that. Also, if you want to fight, them choke points can be a good place to ambush somebody at, if you have that planned out and thought about that, and make that into like a spot ambush or something. So think about that. Okay. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about having a good sleep program and chow for you guys, because you don't get wore out. You need to make sure guys get at least 5 hours of sleep minimum a night, if you can, on a conscious basis. I know there's some nights you might only get a couple, it depends on what you're doing, but you can't go on forever like that. So, and be very effective. So, and not everybody can be on security, so you need to think of a sleep program and food program that gives you the most protein, so you can keep your energy levels up and healthy. You don't want to get sick too. Also, you want to not have your compound look like a compound, if you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, solar panels on the roof kind of gives that away. I know guys that say, oh, I've got this big power generator, diesel generator, and I got a 500-gallon diesel tank. Well, that's fine and dandy, but if you see lights on at night, people don't know that you probably have power or a generator because nobody else has a generator. So I would keep that in mind, black the windows out. Also, I would muffle the noise of that. And I would camouflage it from the sky just in case if they have a drone or something, they fly over to see what you got. So I would think about all that as important as examples. But whatever you do, put good thought, good training into it, and try it. Just don't assume that it'll work. Try it, practice it, and give thanks to God and pray for wisdom on this from the Almighty, because He'll give you wisdom on stuff like this. So that's about all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. I have a lot more, and if this video's gone long enough, enjoy Thanksgiving, enjoy your family, and give thanks to the Almighty. Remember, time may go on, but your life may not.